The amphitheater in Bowles Plaza was crowded with students last Thursday evening. They were shoulder to shoulder, but this time, instead of a beer or two in their hands, there was a lit candle. This time, instead of music that makes my ears ring until the next day, there were the sounds of silence. And instead of the shouts of people trying to talk over the music and even each other, there were the stories of one college student after another in our country in recent weeks who have committed suicide. They had been bullied for being gay. It was a memorial service held in their memory. The LGBT community has been particularly affected by the experience of bullying. Too many have died. Too many. Too many picked on for just being themselves. It's called bullying. And it affects people sometimes for the rest of their lives. Sometimes it can even end a life. And while not many of us perhaps can feel what it must feel like, or even come close to understanding what it feels like for them, I think we all know something from somewhere over the years of our own life when we felt the sting, maybe still do, of having been bullied. Or maybe when we were the ones who bullied someone because we wanted to be the cool ones. Or maybe when we just stood by and let it happen. Never said a word, never lifted a finger, never walked over ourselves to help the one who was being picked on for just being who they were. And it's not just young people who bully. If you've been around St. Louis over a year, you know about a story of a woman from St. Charles County. She was angry, furious with a teenage girl on the same street. And so she got online. She got online and she ridiculed that girl. She told her people hated her. They looked down on her. That she was fat, that she was ugly. That night, that teenage girl killed herself. Her choice was wrong, but so was the mom's. In this gospel, the Pharisee cries out, "Thank you for not making me like the rest of humanity, especially like that tax collector back there." This man made himself feel good by putting somebody else down. We do the same thing every time we bully a person, every time we pick on them, every time we put them down, even if it's just in our minds we do it, but too often with words as well, and at worst, our fists. It's just wrong. It's wrong to ever make ourselves cool at anybody's expense, ever. It sucks the life out of human beings. We are committed here at the CSC to doing our best to build a community where people can feel safe, where any student who walks through those doors will know they're in a safe place, where they can explore their own identity and express who they are and be themselves. We want the CSC to be a place where everybody feels safe. And the CSC will stand with you. And the CSC will protect you. Even if the one bullying you happens to be another peer or a faculty person, and even if it's because of your faith, we will stand with you. We have, and we will. This is big enough in our nation now that the President addressed it himself just 2 days ago when he said, and I quote, "No one should have to endure relentless harassment or tormenting. This is not some rite of passage we should expect for kids. And no one should ever feel so alone or desperate that they feel they have nowhere to turn. We each share a responsibility to protect our young people, and we also have an obligation to set an example of respect and of kindness, regardless of our differences." You know, in the mystery of the Incarnation, God Himself entered into the experience of being bullied. Bullied in Jesus. So many times over His years of public life, He was bullied, mocked in front of the world. And even on the cross, in His last hours, they mocked Him, they ridiculed Him, they treated Him like mud in front of the world. Bullied indeed, this Son of God, this Son of humanity. To those here tonight who have been bullied or are being bullied, to you I say tonight, know that God gets it. Please know that God understands. In this Jesus who endured bullying Himself to the end, God knows what it's like. And trust the words of the first reading you heard from Sirach tonight, that your God hears the cry of the oppressed. The Lord is not deaf to your tears. That's the truth. To you, the message is simple, really. Don't let anybody keep you from being yourself. And no matter how difficult or hopeless life may seem for you sometime, when you're a young person who's been tormented by your peers or feels like you don't fit in anywhere, life will get better. You are not alone. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything to deserve being bullied. And there's a whole world waiting for you filled with possibility. There are people out there and there are people right here who love you and care about you just the way you are. To the rest of us, to all of us really, what can we all do? We can all make the choice to stand up for the bullied, to walk across the playground and to defend them, to stand up alongside them. It's only right. Christians should be in the front line of defense against any who would ever attack. Granted the disagreements within the Christian communities when it comes to issues of human sexuality, but there should be a united front against all who would disrespect, disparage, or denigrate anyone created in the image of God. Let me end with a true story told by a dad who just last week was driving his two sons to school. His sons, one was 12, the other was 7 years old. And he asked them if they had heard any news of this bullying. The 12-year-old said he had. The 7-year-old said, "No, I haven't, Dad." But he said, "There is a bully at school. He bullies this other kid at recess on the playground." With that, the 12-year-old turned to his little 7-year-old brother and he said, "Now, Jack, you need to talk to him. He will respect you and listen to you because you're an athlete, you're a good student, and you're very popular. Kids who are strong need to be the ones who stand up for those who get bullied. Jack, part of your job is to make sure nobody gets bullied at our school. Understand?" And the little 7-year-old boy said yes. Understand? How can we not say yes? Please, God, help us to say yes. Last Thursday night, I felt many things standing there. One was brokenhearted that human beings do this to each other. Brokenhearted over the loss of those lives. But I got to tell you, I was also very proud. Proud to be at Bowles Plaza across the street that night. Proud to stand with LGBT students and their allies. Proud of their leaders. Proud of Washington University. Proud of the students and the staff of the CSC for being there. And that night, standing there with them, I was really proud to be a human being.